On this episode of the Apple Watchers, Apple Watch helps save life of teen athlete in Oklahoma. Apple Watch might one day have replaceable modules. Why the Apple Watch thinks bananas have a heart rate. Apple may someday have a smart home system that could configure itself. Apple may let iOS users set third-party web browser and mail apps as defaults over stock apps. All this, our picks, and much more. This is episode number 20. Welcome to the Apple Watchers, a podcast covering all things Apple Watch and many things Apple. This episode and every episode is brought to you by me, Kevin Hare, and my co-host, Jonathan Zarko, aka Jay-Z. All right, let's get started. Well, hello. How are you?
Doing good. I'm better now. I was sick last week, like a dog.
Yeah, really?
It was took me down. I got sick on vacation too, which does tend to happen with me. But yeah,
Really?
it basically took me out the whole week. So much better now. But if my voice sounds a little funny, that's probably why.
Oh, man. Wow, that's a bummer. Well, glad to hear you're better now. So I wanted to apologize to our listeners. We've had a few technical issues, mainly my microphone, and it was on the last few episodes, but we believe we have these bugs squashed now. We are about 99.999% sure. So we just want to thank all of our listeners for, sticking in there and, continuing to listen. So
yeah. We're trying to get better for you guys, but sometimes we don't always know what the issue is, but I think we figured it out this time. So.
Yeah, it took a lot of research, but I think it's under control. So anyways, moving on, Apple released updates for watchOS 6.1.3 and watchOS 5.3.5 for legacy iPhones. So did you update your watch?
I believe it did. I got the notification to update yesterday while I was in the middle of a workout, which was a bizarre time, but it did tell me that it was going to do it, so it should have done it last night.
Okay. Yeah, and there wasn't too much. It says this update includes improvements and bug fixes, including a fix for an issue that prevented the irregular heart rhythm notification from working as expected for Apple Watch owners in Iceland.
That's very specific.
Yes. I wonder why it was only Iceland.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
What about Greenland?
Cold. Yeah. Guess it's cold in Iceland and maybe that had an effect. I don't know what's going on there. But
well, it's mostly also just security stuff too. It's good.
So if you haven't updated by this time, because this was quite a while ago, this was on the 18th, I believe. So you should update if you haven't updated already.
Yeah, I must have been behind when it gave me the notification, like, hey, update.
It wanted to wait till you were working out.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, it knew I was sick. And it was like, well, we don't want to do it now.
That's right. Not while you have time.
Better. Yeah. And you're not using the watch.
Yeah. Make it when you're actually using it during a workout. Yeah. Hey, guess what? It's a really great time to update.
I guess from that logic, at least then they know that I'm looking at it. I just remember riding home, I was like, what? Why now? Okay.
So, did you know we have another activity challenge coming up?
Do we?
So, you get another chance.
All right. Yeah, I didn't handle my the 7 of the year one. Yeah.
The 7 days in a row. Yeah, this one should be a lot easier. So it says the next Apple Watch activity challenge set to kick off on March 8th. So if you're listening to that after this, then you're ready to go. The challenge is meant to encourage Apple Watch customers to be more active while honoring International Women's Day. The rules for the upcoming Apple Watch activity challenge simply require users to complete a 20-minute walk, run, or wheelchair workout on March 8th.
Okay.
I think that should be doable.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as usual, if you've done these before, upon completion, a special activity achievement will be unlocked in the activity app on the iPhone. The challenge will be available on the Apple Watch for Apple Watch customers globally. Apple Watch customers will be notified about the upcoming challenge on their devices ahead of time. in case you forget. So, and this one marks the third annual activity challenge for Women's Day since Apple started honoring the day with the Apple Watch feature in 2018.
Hmm. Well, that's a
Uh,
Sunday, so
yeah. Oh, it is.
yeah, a good day to go
Well,
and like walk to brunch to get your challenge, you know?
yeah,
I
that's
wonder if it has to be a consistent 20 minutes or if you could do 10 minutes. Probably has to be a consistent 20-minute. Just do a 20-minute walk.
I I wouldn't chance it. Yeah, I would just do the 20 minutes, but that's pretty doable,
Yeah,
you
because it
know?
reminds me, there was the one for, was it Earth Day or something? I think last year. You had to have a 15-minute activity outside. And I did two. One activity was 14 minutes and the other one was 13 minutes. And I didn't get it because my two activities, neither of them hit a full 15-minute mark.
Oh
I was so
man.
bummed.
Oh man.
I'm like, but I did two. I did more. Okay, fine. So yeah, do your full 20.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing. Get
Mm-hmm.
out there. Celebrate Women's Day. International Women's Day, that is.
Hey, Kevin, did you hear about how the Apple Watch is saving lives again?
I did,
Some
but fill us
heartwarming
in.
stories. Yeah, so the Apple Watch has helped save the life of a teen athlete in Oklahoma. Now, this Oklahoma teen was alerted to an unusually high heart rate while in class. It was actually a middle school student who received it, and he only had his watch for like 2 weeks. The watch said that he was stating that he had a heart rate of 190 beats per minute. Now, I mean, I remember being in middle school too, and so, getting called up to the class to answer a question or to turn something in that you did not study for or do could do that. But this was something different. It says that he immediately texted a screenshot to alert his mom. And he had no other issues with heart conditions prior to the event, but we went to the doctor and was ultimately diagnosed with supraventricular trachycardia, or SVT. Without the alert, it's unknown if they would have discovered the heart condition or how much it would have progressed. So, thanks to the early discovery, he was able to be saved, and he had to spend at least nearly 8 hours in surgery just to fix the heart rhythm.
Wow.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
He, he
Basically
was
saved the
young,
kid. Yeah,
apparently.
yeah, middle
Doesn't
school.
Yeah, it doesn't state his actual age, but yeah, middle school. Wow.
Yeah. So this is after some tests and some monitor time. He was able to play football and return to full health and released, to be able to participate in all those activities again too. So ultimately, super happy news. And actually, there were a couple other articles about people being saved. There was a Dalton man who learned about AFib through his watch. One night when his daughter jumped into bed with them, when kids get scared or whatever at night, he woke up and it said his watch was telling him that he was AFib, and so went to the doctor and ultimately had to have surgery. Um, and there was another guy in Cincinnati who got an alert of an irregular heartbeat, and after going to the doctor, found out that he had AFib caused by flu pneumonia. So,
Wow.
really interesting. I didn't know that you could get AFib from the flu.
I
But
had no idea either till seeing this article.
yeah,
That's a bit scary, actually.
just means you really got to take care of yourself. So, but after a hospital stay, the gentleman was able to return home and was cleared of both the flu and AFib. So really cool. The watch is again saving people's lives and teaching us
Cool,
things.
cool. Yeah, and we'll include those stories in the show notes. I think we mentioned in a previous episode we probably won't read all the heartwarming and life-saving and
There's just so
helping
many,
stories, but
so many
yeah,
people
because
being saved.
and there's going to be more and more and more. So the more Apple Watches are sold. So, but yeah, we'll include them
Hmm.
in our show notes. So moving on to some Apple Watch extended stories, Apple Watch, excuse me, might one day have replaceable modules for extra battery, better health tracking, and different aesthetics. So, a newly published Apple patent has revealed how Apple could one day offer users the option to swap and replace modules on their Apple Watch to change functionality. The
Super
replaceable,
cool.
yeah, The replaceable modules could include different functional components such as sensors, biosensors, batteries, IO components, communication interfaces, and controllers. They would also differ in material and structure to provide different sizes, flexibility, and aesthetics such as color, material, and shape.
That'd
Wow,
be kind of
this one,
cool.
yeah, this one I'm having a hard time picturing in my head how it would work, and also, keeping, the water resistance as well. But
Yeah. Uh, how I kind of see it working is almost like Lego pieces that kind of assemble together.
mhm.
And I don't know about the water resistance, but if they could still have some kind of a connection um, that's able to pass through electricity without, shorting out or whatever through water, I could see that working where each individual piece is waterproof. But imagine if your screen was a separate piece that just sat on top of a collection of other modules that are all kind of assembled together. If that was the case, then you could also buy like different color modules. And so you have like a corner that's green, and then on the other side you have a corner that's orange, and then on the other side you have another corner that's green, and then again you have another one that's orange, and you have like a cool checkered effect on the side, and then on the top you have your screen. And depending on what's important to you, you can have a different sensor for maybe biometrics and stuff like that, or somebody else who's tracking um, time and noises and stuff around them or something may have different modules. I like it. I'm interested in
Well, I have
super personalized watch pieces.
yeah, I have a request, something for aesthetics. Can I still pay the same price that I paid for this Apple Watch Sport, but have a module that turns it into a stainless steel watch,
That
but
would be
not
cool.
not have to pay the high price?
Yeah.
That's my request. That
Maybe
would
just a stainless steel case you can buy for the outside. That's not like an
y- y-
actual case, but like just the container.
yeah, because I actually, it's a whole nother subject, but I have some cases, and they're they make the screen look really kind of ugly. The outside,
Yeah.
and it ends up being a little bulky, but I may get the stainless steel
On your
this
next
year.
one? Mm.
Yeah, I actually had an idea of just using the Apple Cash that I've earned from my Apple Card to just pay the difference.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's like getting one for free. Free upgrade.
Yeah. So I might do it because one day we'll have to cover this screen cover again. I'll do a recap on that because it's been quite an adventure.
I'm gonna have to get one of those covers on my next one because I was
Yeah.
in Vegas a couple of weeks ago, which is probably where I
You
picked up
got
whatever I picked up.
Did you get
Um,
another scratch?
yeah, I did. I bumped into a pillar as I
Oh
was
man.
walking, and I scuffed up the whole top corner of it.
Oh
So
man.
mad.
Yeah, actually, we will keep chatting about this for a minute because it is helpful for people if they haven't even purchased an Apple Watch yet. Because my fiance had one, we mentioned it on a previous episode, and she scratched it within a few days.
Hmm.
However, when you go to the Apple store, like I've seen an Apple Watch session going on, and I've also been at the table where you can, set up your Apple Watch, order it how you want,
Hmm.
and they keep telling people that they don't scratch easy. And it's crazy
I mean,
because they do.
they,
She
yeah.
knows. She did it within 2 days. She doesn't have a job that's like construction or anything like that, and, it's kinda silly. They should really do something about the screen,
I mean,
you
there
know?
have been a couple times where I've knocked it into things and it didn't hurt it, but it does seem to be near the edges, the corners, and I think where the
Yeah,
bevel is, there's a
yeah,
little less integrity and it scratches a lot easier there. So it almost kind of depends where I think it hits. But
yeah.
yeah, both corners now I have two scuffs.
Well it's also being that it's square. If,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw there were some videos online of a round, um, Apple Watch, like a mock-up,
Hmm.
which would help with that a little bit.
Hmm.
Just the shape of it. And I
I
think
would
they
be totally
could
down
do
for
that.
that.
I would actually be down. I used to think I wouldn't, and when I got the Series 4, it had that, what's that face called? The modular one with, like, 9 or
Oh
10
yeah.
complications,
Yeah, and it
and
has
then I
the
just I can't even use it now. It looks like a mess.
It's too
And so
many things.
now I use one that just has 4 complications and looks like an analog watch. So I'm ready for a round watch because I only
Hmm.
need 4 complications. I think I'm good with that. Anything else, I can just open the watch and find what I need.
Yeah, like I have
So,
6 on here, but I really could probably do away with a couple and be fine.
yeah.
And actually, my wife has even said that um, she doesn't want an Apple Watch until there's a round one because she doesn't like the
Really?
square. Yeah.
You know,
So
it would actually be cool if they kinda offered both. We
yeah,
had talked about, like, doing a Apple Watch Pro, you know, something like that. So,
we theorized that it might be around the corner when they announced those different watch faces, the new ones, because there were some round ones. And I'm like, it would be super easy to just not have those complications on the corner and the
yeah.
whole thing is in the middle.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe this year is the year we see it. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see. That would be pretty cool,
Mm,
but I definitely wish they would stop telling people that they don't scratch easy because
yeah.
they definitely do.
Well,
But that's actually why I want the stainless steels because it has the sapphire crystal glass, and
yeah,
those are
that one
usually used
is definitely
on
going to be a
high-end.
lot stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, those that material is used on, like, high-end watches, so
Hmm.
anyways.
Well, here's a funny article. So, your Apple Watch thinks bananas have a heart rate.
Yeah, I
Bananas have
saw
a heart
this.
rate, according to the Apple Watch. Yeah. Smartwatches have become popular solutions for measuring and monitoring health related aspects, but they are prone to mistakes and misreadings at times. The actual truth is your watch doesn't think anything, nor is it actually making a mistake. In fact, it's not only Apple Watches or bananas where the effect could be seen, as it's also previously been observed with other wearables and even on toilet paper. So essentially, almost anything can be made to show a heart rate due to the way that the devices take the measurement. So pretty much all smartphones and wearables that measure heart rates do so through the use of photoplethy somography rather. In the case of the Apple Watch, this is that green light that's emitted and projected onto the arm. I don't know if you've ever seen that every once in a while. Somebody will have like a loose watch band, and you can see a little bit of a green light kind of
Oh,
emanating from
yeah.
the bottom of it. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, sometimes when I take mine off, like, I've taken it off, like, kind of right, after an activity, but it still
Oh
wants
yeah.
to read my heart rate, so, you can see it, and I'm
You
like,
can
"Am
see
I
it
supposed to
on.
be looking at this, or is it gonna
Yeah.
blind me? What's
Yeah.
happening here?" There was no warning in the manual.
Yeah. Um, well, so what it's doing is it's projecting that green light, and it's using changes in light absorption. So how much of the light is reflected back to the sensor, and that's what's measuring. That's what it's actually measuring and using that information to calculate your heart rate. So since that's how the technology works, anything that can reflect light is likely to fool the smartwatch into giving out a false reading. Um, Although in reality, it's not actually a false reading, it's just measuring light absorption and not anything else. So if you put it on a banana or you put it on toilet paper, that material is going to reflect and send back light, which the device is going to read as a heartbeat. Um, but yeah, if you want to, mess with your friends, you can tell them like, "Hey, did you know that bananas have heartbeats?" And then put a put an Apple Watch on it and show them. But yeah, kind of a funny little thing.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's pretty funny. So, this next story, Apple and Johnson & Johnson study to predict stroke risk with Apple Watch. This is
Hmm.
kinda neat. This happened actually just this last Tuesday, February 25th. So Johnson & Johnson and Apple have announced it's a new study called Heartline to find out the Apple Watch can help reduce the risk of stroke and detect atrial fibrillation early. That
Hmm.
is. So that's the key is actually detecting it early is their goal. So the Heartline study is a nationwide randomized controlled app-based virtual research study sponsored by Janssen Pharmaceuticals Inc., a member of the Janssen Pharmaceutical Companies of Johnson & Johnson. The company said the team worked with Apple to jointly design the research study and the Heartline study app.
Real quick, So I actually
Mhm.
saw this on another site and
Uh-huh.
like jumped into it to see what it was. And just because they're talking about the design of the study and the design of the actual page, it's really nice. It actually looks really professional and really cool. Like it uses these like medical illustrations and these very
The
cool modern circles and stuff. Like the actual website about it.
the website.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually glanced at it. I kinda, just kinda rushed through it, but I and the app too, because we're actually going to have links, to the enrollment and the Heartline app, but the app looked like it's probably a pretty nice design too.
Yeah, it follows the same kind of patterns and stuff as the website did. It just looks really cool. I was actually bummed out that it was open only to people who are 65 and older.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I kinda got a little excited, although their heart study, uh, I haven't participated enough in.
Mhm,
Not this one, but the one that's, in the heart study app or whatever.
mhm.
Um yeah, I haven't participated enough, so I probably wouldn't do this one even if I was, old enough. Anyways, it says eligible participants will be randomized in one of two possible groups. One group will participate by using the Heartline Study app on their iPhone, Johnson & Johnson explained. The other group will participate by using the Study app on their iPhone in addition to obtaining an Apple Watch to use the ECG app and irregular heart rhythm notification feature. Participants who already own an Apple Watch may be eligible to join the study as well, with certain restrictions. And it says participants selected in the Apple Watch group can either purchase a watch at a discounted price or can borrow a watch on loan for no cost. Those who borrow will have to return the watch at the end of the study. The exact discounted price wasn't disclosed. So again, I already kind of mentioned, but if you're interested in enrolling, it is for people 65 and over. So if you're interested in enrolling and participating, we'll provide a link in the show notes to the Heartline Study enrollment and the Heartline Study app. So
Very cool.
yeah, pretty cool stuff. More health, more
Mhm.
health. So well, why don't we go over a few Apple quick stories? So Apple retail stores celebrating upcoming International Women's Day with Today at Apple sessions. In celebration of International Women's Day, set to take place on March 8th, Apple is hosting a series of She Creates workshops that will be held at Apple retail stores from March 1st to March 31st. According to Apple, there will be hands on sessions that explore new perspectives using iPad, iPhone, and Mac, along with opportunities to share ideas with others and learn from inspiring female creators. There will be sessions on creating AR experiences, learning product skills, and more, along with unique sessions at various Apple locations around the world. The events can be found by visiting Apple's Today at Apple website, which lists events and store sessions by location. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I like that they do these little classes and stuff too, and the little workshops, and I think it's cool that they're doing a series for She Creates. Lots of fun.
Yeah, and for any listeners not aware, they're free too.
Mhm.
All you have to do is kind of enroll, and a lot of them too. They don't get kind of sold out or whatever you would call it. A lot of times you can just
Filled up.
walk into the store and then,
Mhm.
join in, let them know you wanna join in. So, pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah,
cool stuff.
going throughout the month too, so if you're near an Apple store during March, go pop in.
Yeah.
So, next story, contactless student IDs on iPhones and Apple Watch now available for Santa Clara University students. So the university students are now able to add access uh, to their student IDs in the Wallet app for the iPhone and the Apple Watch, allowing the devices to be used to access buildings, attend athletic events, purchase meals, check out library cards, do all that kind of stuff. Um, What's really cool is once a student card has been added to the Wallet app, students use their phone or watch in lieu of the physical card by just holding their device near the reader. The contactless student ID can be used anywhere the physical ID card is required. Um, the university is located close to Apple's Cupertino headquarters and was one of the universities that worked with Apple and partner company Transact during the pilot program for contactless student IDs. The school expects that most of its 5,500 undergrad students will be using the mobile student ID system by the end of the year. Apple had first announced plans to bring contactless student IDs to iPhone and Apple Watch at the 2018 Worldwide Developer Conference and rolled out the first IDs in October of 2018. Uh, this is really cool, though. I know they're just starting it with schools and stuff, but I like the potentiality for having these kinds of things, built into your
Yeah.
wallet, so to speak, right? And what is really cool about how this works is you don't actually have to pull up the card or the wallet app. You just hold your device near the reader, and it automatically your device detects that the reader is there and pulls the card up. So it's a really cool feature. I'd like to see, be able to come out for other things like library cards or medical cards and things like that. Um, who knows? The potentiality for it in the future is very, very cool. Just to be really
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah. This is very cool. So, did you see this too? Um, Apple Research app adds AirPods Pro support for hearing study, WatchOS,
Mm.
and WatchOS battery improvements. I need that.
Hey, yeah.
My battery's still been up and down, by the way. Some days it's amazing, some days, well,
Hmm.
it's been better. Anyways, back to this story. Apple has updated its Research app for iPhone and Apple Watch with a few notable additions on Tuesday, February 25th. With Apple Watch Research version 1.1.2, the app now supports AirPods Pro for the hearing study and more. Apple launched the Research app last November, allowing users in the US to enroll in 3 health studies: women's health, heart and movement, and a hearing study. Today's update for the the 20 update on the 25th for the Apple Research app includes AirPods Pro support for the hearing study. The hearing study examines the impact of sound exposure on hearing and health stress levels, and now AirPods Pro users can partake. Elsewhere in the update for the Apple Research app, it improves voiceover support and battery life performance on Watch OS.
Hmm.
And yeah, here's kind of a full release note of this. This update includes new features, improvements, and bug fixes, and is recommended for all users. Support for AirPods Pro and Apple Watch hearing study. Improved experience for voiceover users while participating in the Apple hearing study and the hearing test. Battery life improvements on the latest WatchOS. Yeah, I guess we already kind of mentioned this. So, yeah, and if you don't know where to find it, the Apple Watch Research app is available in the App Store for free to download. The update is rolling out or has already rolled out. And if you don't see it immediately, and you already have the app, just keep checking. So, but probably by
I
the
think this
time
is
this
really
airs,
cool.
yeah,
It's probably in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Uh,
this is awesome.
I like the idea of checking the stress levels based off of the impact of sound exposure.
Yeah.
'Cause we were talking about it
Mm,
before and how that may impact your office.
oh yeah,
And
yeah. Does this mean that like coworkers and loud annoying noises, or maybe here at home when our neighbor's dog is barking endlessly,
yeah.
my stress levels go up. So
It's like,
I wonder if
thanks,
it'll
watch.
detect that.
Yeah.
Is
I
that what it
guess.
means?
Yeah. Super
I
cool.
just if I just wear my AirPods Pros all the time, it'll start detecting my stress level.
Yeah.
Are you gonna partake in any of these?
I actually might. I'm interested in the hearing study one. What I
Okay.
have noticed is my tinnitus has actually been acting up a little bit more
Oh boy.
than before. And actually, I was reading something that said that allergies and being sick can also affect it too. So that might be
Hmm.
part of it. But I am interested in maybe doing a study to see, I don't know, are my headphones too loud? Am I in areas where it's too loud for me? Um, just would like to keep my hearing as long as I can.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so we should probably move on to some of our other extended stories. There's this really cool, great one about Apple filing a patent for a smart home system that could configure itself.
Wow, this is cool.
Yeah,
If it works.
if it works. uh, if so, the patent was published back in February 13th, and it reveals an idea for a system that could automatically detect smart home devices and potentially configure them for the room they're in. As Apple points out in the patent, there are lots of good smart home devices and technologies available now, but it can be very challenging to actually configure those devices to make them fully integrated into the smart home due to factors like different types of wireless protocols, connector types, incompatible devices between vendors, and more. This Apple patent has a system that would make connecting all your smart things easier by automatically detecting a new smart device, what room it's in, and then authenticating it for you to use. So, in theory, if you installed a smart light switch into your dining room, this system could immediately display the switch in your home app or on your iPhone, automatically identifying it as a light switch for your dining room. The patent also describes a system where a host unit for this technology could detect other host units installed around your house to auto generate a floor plan, detect inanimate objects like sofas, know where they are, and even know when you're walking around your house. The system could do this with the time of flight sensors to get 3D depth data of the room, and a signal technology like ultra wideband radios to connect to the host unit to the host unit from host unit to host units. If it sounds familiar to you, it might be because Apple seems to be dipping its toes into both technologies. The 2020 iPhone is rumored to have that uh, time of flight sensor camera, and the iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro already have the ultra wideband radios thanks to the new U1 chip. So essentially, as you're walking around your house, your phone will be kind of scanning things around and then taking that data and configuring that information with the items in your house and essentially creating like a little floor plan, and then using that information to relay back to your home app to let you know and bring up the capabilities for those different smart objects in your house. I love this because
Yeah.
as somebody who is trying to embrace smart devices in their home, I know firsthand how big of a pain in the butt it is to configure these things, especially if they aren't already HomeKit enabled, and trying to find workarounds and like using Siri shortcuts and stuff to be able to actually do automation. So I think this is super cool.
Yeah, I would like I mean, I don't know if this would help with any of this, but we have one smart plug. Hate to mention the brand, but I'm going to have to.
Uh,
But I believe it's our iHome smart plug, and a lot of times it just disconnects from the network, and I'll write to them, and they'll just tell me that it's something on our end. But then our other brand, which is other brand of smart plug, which is KuGeek, that one never disconnects.
mm,
So I don't know, but I would love the ability to have it reconnect on its own,
yeah.
reconfigure itself because it's always a pain.
Hmm.
It is. Usually you have to hold the button on the side of the smart plug, and then you have to, a lot of times just disconnect it from the home app and then reconnect it.
Yeah. You have to basically you have to do it like it's brand new and reset it
Yes,
manually.
exactly. Yeah, it's a
Um,
pain.
I have a couple of those KuGeek ones too. They do work well. I had an iHome one. I don't remember having many issues with it, but we don't use it now. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember why. I think I just didn't have a use for it. But we got some smart lights and we have them in the bedroom and in the living room. Um, and I have them, they weren't HomeKit enabled, so I had to do Siri shortcuts with them so that I can use Siri commands they have dimmers and they can change colors and stuff. And so, like in the bedroom, I can say, night mode, and it dims the lights a little bit lower, so it's easier to start falling asleep. And in the living room, you can also do that. So if we're watching TV and it's kind of dark, the lights are being too bright, we can dim those down. We also set up a party mode, and so it'll like strobe through a bunch of different colors and stuff, which is kind of fun.
Oh man.
Um, so I could just imagine, being able to just buy a new thing and put it into the house, plug it in, and instantly HomeKit just goes, "Oh yeah, here it is," and it's also in the kitchen, so your new toaster is ready to go, or whatever
That
it is
would
you
be
brought in.
cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Oh man. Well, did you hear about this? This is pretty wild. 2,000 iPhones doled out to quarantine cruise ship passengers. Kind of a crazy story and not great in a way, but passengers on the Diamond Princess cruise ship quarantined on board because of the coronavirus
Oh
are
man.
to be given iPhones for communication and information about the situation. Some 2,000 iPhones with a new medical consultation app are being provided by SoftBank and will be shared with one phone per cabin or crew quarters.
Oh, cool. So it's basically one per
Uh,
room.
yeah, and at the time of this article, which was on the 14th of this month, so I don't know if it's changed, but the ship was currently stationed off the coast of Yokohama, Japan, and passengers are using the Medicals app chat feature to communicate with doctors. People can access the special app by the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare to ask by chat about medication or any other things that may concern them. The app will also
That's
book
really cool.
consultation session with a doctor. Yeah. So yeah, and this ship, the Princess Diamond, originally left Yokohama port in January 20th, and its cruise was due to end on February 4th. Since then, however, one 80-year-old man disembarking on in Hong Kong was found to have the coronavirus.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so consequently, the ship has been refused permission to dock in Japan, Thailand, Philippines, Guam, and Taiwan. The the passenger complement is 2,666, while the crew number is 1,045. And so as of Friday, February 14th, allegedly only 700 people on board have been tested for the virus, and 218 of those tested were found to have it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a
Yeah.
high percentage. Almost a
Yeah.
third. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. So the Japanese government is reported by the Guardian newspaper to have given the iPhones to passengers rather than simply loaning them, which makes sense.
You
I
don't want
don't,
it back. You keep your coronavirus phone.
I don't, that, that would not be good. So, well, I guess they got, maybe one sort of good thing out of it, but
I like though
not
how
good.
their solution is like, okay, we have a potentiality of 2,000 people to be sick, or well, actually, yeah, a little bit more than 2,000 people. So, um, let's put a software on an iPhone and drop it in there, and then we can do communication with them and consultations, and not put the doctors at risk, and also keep them quarantined. Like I think it was really smart use of technology, and definitely trying to help improve a really bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, there have been no reported deaths on that
Mhm.
ship from the coronavirus among the passengers and crew. Conflicting reports say that the Japanese government may allow some elderly passengers to disembark, but for now, the iPhones appear to be the only change for the people under quarantine. Separately, people returning to Beijing have been told to consider themselves under a 14-day quarantine in their homes. This
Mhm.
news comes as Beijing at least tries to return to normal with some limited opening hours in the city's Apple stores as well.
Yeah, people are just trying to get on with their lives as best they can. It's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and this story is from the 14th, so probably a lot has changed, and of course, you're following the news, a lot has changed just around the world
Yeah, it's
with this virus. It's scary.
hitting a little bit harder. So
Yeah.
wash your
Yeah.
hands, people.
Yeah.
In other news, kind of sad, but Larry Tesler, he was the Apple employee who invented cut, copy, and paste, has died at the age of 74.
Man, this is
Uh,
sad. And we
yeah,
still use that. There's a lot of things that come and go as far as
cut, copy,
technology, and
paste.
we
Yeah,
we still use it to this day.
and I think we're going to continue to. It's just such a
Yes.
smart, easy thing, right? But he was the pioneering computer scientist who worked at Apple from 1980 to 1997, created the computerized cut, copy, and paste. Um, he died at the age of 74. He served as VP of AppleNet and Apple's Advanced Technology Group. And during his time at Apple, he played a key role in the development of products ranging from the Lisa to the Newton message pad. But that was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to his contributions to computing. He was a fascinating figure in the history of personal computing, perfectly encapsulating the mix of hippie and high tech culture that helped Apple create Apple as a company. Born in 1945, Tesla studied computer science at Stanford University, and for a time he worked for the Stanford Artificial Intelligence Laboratory in the 1960s. I think it'd be really cool to see what kind of artificial intelligence they had started working on in the 60s.
Oh,
By the way,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
he was passionate about something called modeless computing, meaning the type of computing now taken for granted in which the user doesn't have to switch constantly between different input states. His Dodge Valiant bore a customized license plate that read "No modes," and he regularly wore a T-shirt worn in college to not mode me in. Even his Twitter handle was "No modes."
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. After he left Apple in '97, he worked at Amazon for a little while as the VP of Shopping Experience, which is huge if you've used Amazon and understand that their shopping experience is fantastic. He later joined Yahoo as the VP of User Experience and Design Group. And for the past decade, he worked as a freelance technology consultant. So he was a passionate advocate for better human computer interaction. And if you're interested in reading more about him, I'd recommend John Markoff's excellent book, What the Dormouse Said: How the 60s Counterculture Shaped the Personal Computer Industry. It details the early development of the personal computer that Tesla played a huge part in that revolution. And so the article is longer, but it is fascinating. So if you'd like to read more about it, there's going to be some links in the show notes as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for
But
sure. It's a good article. It's worth reading if you want to know more about him. Gets a little more in depth. Well, a lot more in depth. So
yeah,
he
particularly
was
about his
really,
time at Apple too, and how he worked with Steve Jobs, that is, and so some really cool things in there.
yeah, it's worth reading if you have interest in. He's a neat character. Neat guy.
Well, you'll be missed, sir, and thank you for the cut, copy, and paste.
Yeah, rest in peace, Larry Tesler. Well, moving on, this is kind of big news as well, if this actually happens, but Apple may let iOS users set third party web browsers and mail apps as defaults over their own stock apps.
Mm.
Yeah, this would be big. So this first came from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. He said the technology giant is discussing whether to let users choose third party web browser and mail applications as their default options on Apple's mobile devices, replacing the company's Safari browser and the Mail app, according to people familiar with the matter. So, this potential move also comes after criticism that the tech giant gives its in house apps an unfair advantage and undue prominence on the App Store. So, which yeah, I can kind of see that too. So, as it stands, Apple doesn't allow users to replace the pre installed apps like Safari and Mail with third party services, opening it up to scrutiny from lawmakers investigating possible antitrust violations. The report also claims that Apple is considering opening its HomePod speaker to third party music services like Spotify. That would be cool
If
too.
they did that, I might actually buy one.
Yeah, that would be a way to boost sales. I don't
Yep.
think they're actually selling a lot. So currently, Spotify and other third-party music services can be streamed from the iPhone or iPad to the HomePod using Apple's AirPlay technology, but it's ungainly alternative solution that just allowing users to stream third-party music services from the speaker directly. So yeah, it's a kind of a not so fun workaround. You
It's
know,
not even really a workaround. It's
I
just being
mean,
able to Bluetooth connect my phone and
y-
play it through a speaker. It's like,
yeah, yeah,
okay, but it uses AirPlay instead.
yeah, which you can do. I mean, you could just use Bluetooth on a different Bluetooth
Yeah.
speaker.
Yeah.
And the whole joy of the HomePod, I mean, I don't own one, you don't own one, but I would guess the whole joy is just to say, "Hey, SIRI, play, so and so," and it
Yeah.
will just play through Spotify
Yeah.
instead of having to do this whole, rigmarole here.
Yeah, it's
So,
I mean, right now, like, I can ask Siri through the AirPods to start playing music through Spotify, but I do have to specify, like, start playing AC/DC, this is AC/DC playlist on Spotify, and then
yeah.
it'll go and pick it up. But
Yeah,
it
and I
would be nice if I could just have that as the default.
yeah, and it says in the article that it would boost, it'd probably boost the product sales. That's what we just said.
I actually
Yeah,
don't necessarily see I like the mail app personally.
I do
Like
not.
I have Outlook on there too, and it's fine. But the mail app has always worked well for me. I haven't had any issues.
I haven't used it in a long time. I jump in there once in a while just to keep up on it, but I use Spark, which I don't think I've reviewed, but I'll have to at some point. But it'll be a long review because it does just about anything that you want. One thing that I really like that I wish they would just add to the mail app is just the ability to make a PDF out of an email and just save it to a cloud service because
Interesting.
Spark does that. So if I get a receipt I want to save,
Hmm.
it's like 2 or 3 taps and I'm done.
Hmm.
I just send it to Google Drive. Yeah, Spark is amazing, but I will definitely review it at some point
Okay.
and try to get in depth with it. But it's a monstrous mail app, so there would be yeah, it'd be long. There'd be a lot to cover.
And
But
then I'm
what's that?
personally too. I use Safari fine on as a mobile browser. I have Chrome on my phone and my iPad, and they work good too. For some reason, I don't know. I feel like on my computer, I am a strict Chrome user,
Mm,
but on my phone, I'm a strict Safari user, and so
I've been
I don't
doing
know why.
I've been doing Firefox on my computer and actually now on my iOS devices.
Hmm.
It feels really snappy, and I think that's why I just kind of got hooked on it. My computer's a little older, so having a snappy browser really helped because it does feel faster than Chrome and definitely faster than Safari, at least on on my particular computer.
Computer, yeah.
But I would still, I was going to ask you your opinion on this because I would still like the ability to set a default, mail app and browser. Just makes things a little easier, especially with the browser. Now, one thing about that Spark email app, which is kind of cool, is that you can set links to open up in Safari, Chrome, or Firefox,
Oh, so you can
which
kind of
is
work around like it's the default, but just
yeah,
through
but
links
but
in there.
so I'm kind of almost there, but I could see this happening and we've probably mentioned before, but the lines between Android and Apple are starting to get a little
Hmm.
blurred, which is good in my
Yeah.
opinion. Maybe one day we'll be able to move our apps around too, like you can on an Android,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, you
and
can
not
move them. I would like to be able to do
well,
it like a bunch of them at one time.
oh, there is a way to do that, but it's a little complicated. I can't remember. There is a way to actually move more than one.
Oh, interesting. At the
There,
same time?
yeah, yeah. Well, actually, you know what? We should try to find that, and we can
Yeah,
make it
put it
like
as
a
a tip.
tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is a way to do it, but it's probably not super easy. But a lot of people, I don't know. You've probably seen, uh, maybe a friend's Android screen, but you can move apps any way you want them.
Mhm. I do
Which
like
is
the
kind of
widget
neat.
kinda component where you can have one that's a
Yeah,
little bit bigger and it, like, takes
yeah,
over.
yeah. I wouldn't mind just having more customization. Seemed like kind of could be an Apple thing,
Mm.
that would be
I
neat.
don't
But
like I said, I don't personally think I would necessarily change my default browser or mail app unless there was some great app that I just don't know about. Um, Partly too because I feel like there's a lot of security that I'm guaranteed by using Apple's default stock applications for those things. However, I do believe that they should give us the ability and the choice to always set any other application as a default.
Yeah.
Just because that's how people work, and it encourages, uh, you know, advancement in the market, right?
Yeah.
If all of a sudden people are, as soon as they buy an iPhone, they download Chrome or Firefox and put that in there and make that the default, maybe that's an indication that Safari is lacking in something, right? So from that standpoint, I like it. I'm a little more concerned just as an app and a web developer about it is kind of nice to know, like, when I'm testing things for iOS, if it looks good in Safari, it's going to look good for the vast majority of
Yeah.
my users. So changing that around will be a little bit more of a pain in the butt, but um, that's a pain in the butt I'm willing to take for the choice, you know.
Yeah. My only question regarding this is, will it work well? Because the reason I say that is, if you've used third party keyboards, the integration was not always so smooth. It
Yeah.
didn't always work so well. It's really glitchy, and then you don't know who to point the finger at. Is it Apple or is it the developer?
Yeah.
Because I've
The answer is
used a
probably
lot of
both.
I've you know I think I used a lot of third party keyboards on iOS, because
Mhm.
I wanted swipe typing. So,
Mhm.
but now that we have swipe typing on the default iOS keyboard, I switched over permanently because I didn't want the glitchiness anymore. Now I
Yeah.
I have a keyboard that always works.
Mhm.
So,
I've had issues with third-party keyboards, but just like ones for stickers and like other emoji ones. And mostly it just happened to be where you have to cycle between, like, the Jurassic World sticker emoji pack versus the standard one. And so sometimes it would move that little global icon, and then it would become harder to find my actual text, which
yeah.
occasionally, or like it would default to that one. So then I'm trying to like log into something and I have a picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex and a person running away. And I'm like, okay, those don't work. How do I get to my other keyboard?
Oh
So
man,
I did ultimately end up deleting that after playing with it for a little while. But yeah, any of those third party ones sometimes
that's
have issues.
that's hilarious. Yeah, I would not like to see issues like that when trying to use a browser or or
Mm,
a mail app. That would not be fun.
yeah.
Anyways, so why don't we move on to some for your entertainment? And so, if there's actually anyone who's never listened before, we drop some articles, some links in our show notes that might keep you entertained. Usually videos or something audio, but something kind of cool. So
Hmm.
something fun to watch. So this was a trippy video shot on iPhone, and it will totally blow your mind. It was pretty cool. It was a creative
Whoa.
team behind Valley Duhamel pushed the iPhone XS Max camera to its limit for the conceptual video titled Glacier. So, yeah, it's
Hmm.
pretty cool. It looks like it's a shot on iPhone, video. Again, they do these all the time. It was commissioned by Apple, and it was one of their Today at Apple sessions. Oh, they'll be playing it at their Today at Apple sessions. They'll be playing that video.
So, what is
So
the subject matter of it?
it's sort of like, how do I explain it? Because it's sort of like a artsy type thing, because it's like artists who created it, but they're like on this
Mm,
glacier, and the girl's kind of like doing these kind of, weird kind of moves and stuff, but it's really neat, you know?
dancing, and it's just got some effects and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, and so they use, professional lighting equipment, but they used an iPhone. They also used Filmic Pro, which is, well, I covered Filmic, right, on a
Oh
previous
yeah,
episode.
yeah. Where you
Yeah.
can do both angles, but the front and the back of the camera and stuff.
Yeah, and I believe Filmic Pro is, you can actually sync up with other iPhones and do multiple shots, as far as I know.
Ah,
So,
that's fun.
yeah. So, that video is definitely worth checking out. So, of course, there'll be a link in the show notes. And then this next one is another shot on iPhone, and this uses the iPhone 11 Pro to highlight Nevada's Valley of Fire.
Ooh,
So, yeah, it's called A Journey into the Valley of Fire, and it shows off the 4K camera, ultra wide camera, and an awe inspiring Nevada State Park. So, the park is 50 miles from Las Vegas, and it remains a monumental geological process sculpted by 200 million years of wind and water
mm,
and ocean of rock and valley of fire. That's what the opening scene reads, actually. So, it's really cool. Definitely worth checking out. So,
just some really cool nature state park footage. Very
yep.
nice.
Yeah, it is really cool, the lighting and everything, and they always put really nice music behind it. So, yeah, it's worth checking out. Um, Before we move on to our picks, I just want to mention again that we're on Facebook. We mentioned this the last episode that we're new on Facebook. So come join us, follow us, and you're welcome to contact us as well because we don't have an email. So
Yeah.
at least currently. So feel free
Leave us
to
some
message.
comments. Send some messages.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to our picks. So my pick is relatively new. This was released on February 19th, and it's the Microsoft Office app for iOS. So this
Hmm.
is, yeah, this is different. I'm trying to think. So they yeah, Microsoft released a unified Office app for iOS and Android. Yeah, so it's on Android as well, which combines Word, Excel, and PowerPoint into a single application. The software makers first started beta testing this new Office app as a hub for all things Office Mobile back in November, and now anyone can download it and install it. Microsoft has focused on surfacing some of the more mobile friendly parts of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint into quick actions that let you get stuff done on the go. So, all of the main apps are combined, meaning you can switch between documents quickly, scan PDFs, and even capture whiteboards, text, and tables into digital versions. Microsoft,
Interesting.
yeah. So, Microsoft is also adding support for third party cloud storage like Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, and iCloud. However, when I tried this, because I have it on my phone currently, I couldn't get it to connect with Google Drive.
Hmm.
So maybe in time, maybe I don't know what was going on there, but it just didn't show up.
So
So
essentially, they've combined all of their apps into one, which
yeah,
I,
it's
I
just
think
like
is smart.
it's kind of like a hub, and it's really
Hmm.
neat. Actually, the scanner and everything is really neat. And you scan something to a PDF. It's kind of neat, and I kind of wish Google would do something like this. I mean, Drive is kind of like that, but it
Hmm.
doesn't have like the scanning capabilities.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, one of my picks before was Microsoft's Lens, which was just
mhm.
it was the standalone app that did that scanning thing, and I still use that today. Like I use that all the time to scan
Oh, really?
documents and mail them off. Yeah. Um,
It works well.
Especially, yeah, it works really well, and it takes great photos.
Hmm.
It's also good for scanning receipts and things like that too if you need them, or business cards. Like if there's a thing that you want to get and you want to just have it digitally, it's easy to just take a picture of it and then you can toss it. But it's cool that it's all in one now because that also means that when you're working on things, you can jump between them right really easily. So if you're working on a PowerPoint presentation, you can jump into Excel, take data from there, and then pull it into your PowerPoint. So super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it says the current release is available on Android tablets with only limited support and will
Mm.
be fully optimized for tablet experience, will be available on both iPad OS and Android soon. Yeah, so it's limited on the iPad as well, which I find kind of strange, but it seems like the place you'd want to use it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
I'm
I
wondering if they're
I
they're
don't know.
probably running into issues with the variety of hardware capabilities
Hmm.
because I feel like the iPhones are a little bit more consistent in their updates, and like eventually they get to a point where they're like the whole thing doesn't work anymore. Whereas with the iPad, like mine for example, right? I'm still running an iPad Air 2,
Mm,
and I can't
mhm.
update it anymore. But still working like a champ, and so some of those older ones are able to kind of hang on for a little bit longer. So it requires a lot of optimization to be able to support some of those older devices.
Yeah.
Um, that's cool.
Well, yeah, maybe at the time that you're listening to this, maybe they will have optimized it for the iPad and
Hmm.
Android tablets. They don't give a timeline of when that'll be available. The app is free. Um, I believe to obviously there's, you can have a free account with Microsoft with limited capability. And obviously, if you pay, you get more capability.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
but it's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. So, what is your pick?
All right. So my pick is Tab.
The soda.
Yes. No, the ability to open multiple web pages. No. It's actually called Tab, the Simple Bill Splitter, and this is an application for your iPhone. And what it does is it's a simple way to split a bill among friends. You snap a picture of the receipt, tap the items to claim them. Tax and tip are calculated for you. No more back of the napkin algebra or typing in prices by hand. And then once you're ready, you can settle up with integrated Venmo. So it's really cool. It basically, you take a picture of your receipt, it does a digital scan of it, and then uses a little bit of AI to turn the information that it's scanned into real text that it can read and understand. So it'll then see, like, okay, there is the burger and fries, and it was $9, and then there is the beer, and that was $8. And so then you can go in and claim burger and fries and beer, and it'll tell you that your subtotal was $17, and then calculate tax and tip. And so you know exactly how much your share is. And you can even do that for other people, and then through Venmo, send a request and have them just send you what you need to do, or send you the money directly through Venmo, so you can get paid. It does calculate the tip. It actually allows you to choose how much of a percentage you want to put on there. So, you can go up or down. Um, it asks you to sign in. If you create an account and sign in, then you can save your receipts. So I guess if you have, like, for tax purposes or something, you want to save your receipts that way too. It's helpful. But if you're just downloading it to split checks among friends and you're not really interested in keeping that information, you can just use the app as soon as you download it, and yeah, start calculating immediately. So
Hmm.
super convenient. We've used it a couple times with some friends. The only time we ran into an issue was we got a discount at a restaurant one time, and it calculated that discount as an actual item. So it didn't, because the way the discount was applied, it like showed up like 20% discount, and it said negative $20 or whatever on it. It didn't apply that discount to each item individually. So it's not a perfect science. But for most bills, where you're just splitting it among a bunch of other people, super easy and convenient. Tab, um, with Venmo integration. It's currently at a 4.6 rating on the App Store,
Hmm.
and is very, very good. So check it out.
Cool. And it's free. And even with
Yes, free.
and even with an account, though, if you sign up, it's still free, or
Yeah,
there's no subscription or
no
anything.
subscription.
Because
No, yeah,
everyone's trying
no.
to hit us up for a subscription.
I don't know how they support themselves.
Hmm.
Maybe it's through the Venmo integration, but even with that, they're not charging any kind of fees or anything.
I'm
Um,
I'm looking at the screenshot from the App Store.
mhm.
I'm just kind of up fixated on the bill there.
that it shows on there. Yeah.
Yeah, it says 4 draft. Uh, is that 4 draft beers? And if so, that's cheap. What does that mean?
Yeah, probably.
Anyways, $12?
Maybe it
Let's
was
go
like
to
a flight.
man, let's
Yeah, I
go to
don't
New
know.
York, man. It's cheap.
Yeah, Q and G's for $12 for 4 drafts.
And
It's a good deal.
I know I
Yeah, the
mentioned it.
side salads were more expensive than that.
I know. I'll forget it. I'll just get beer.
Yeah.
Forget the side salad.
This is ribeye for 18. I mean, that's also a really good deal, or a really crappy ribeye.
Man. And I did say Tab the soda at the beginning, and a lot of you younger people are not gonna know what the heck I'm talking about. That was probably like the first diet soda, and it came
Yeah.
around in, I think, the mid to late 70s and lasted through the 80s. So
It was the Tab in early times, the that old 80s cocktail.
I would say, seek it out too. That could be my second pick is Tab soda.
I
Seek
don't
it out. It's so delicious.
I
And
have
I'm
seen it.
being I'm being facetious.
As I say, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say they actually liked it, so I can't say
and
I've ever had it.
and I don't think you will hear someone that they're like, "Wow, this is so good."
Someone's buying it though. I don't know. I've seen it in stores.
Yeah, if it's still available.
Mm. Yeah, I think I've even seen it in the smaller cans. So I don't know. Well, there's your homework. Go try
Yeah.
Tab, either the
Yes.
app or the soda.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my bonus. You get an extra bonus this episode. Tab soda. Mm-mm. But I have no price. I can't tell you how much it is for a 6-pack or the small cans.
Probably $12.
Oh, man. Well, that's it for this episode of the Apple Watchers. Read all the stories we've covered and more stories on Flipboard, a link provided in the show notes. Follow us on Facebook at the Apple Watchers Podcast and on Twitter at Watchers Tweet. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcast. You can also ask your smart speaker to play the Apple Watchers Podcast. Please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen. And thank you again for listening. Until the next episode, I hope the only complications in your life are the ones on the face of your Apple Watch.